Centers for Disease Control is now confirming that an elderly man in Utah died from the plague earlier this month. Utah is the 7th state to have seen cases of the plague in 2015. 12 people have been diagnosed with the disease in the U.S. this year. The CDC says that's a significant increase in the number of plague cases from previous years. So, for more, let's bring in Dr. Manny Alvarez, a member of Fox's medical aid team. Dr. Alvarez, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we haven't seen anything of this nature since 2009. Can you explain to me and the viewers how this is contracted and why is there more of a concentration out west?
Well, I mean, it's endemic to the area, that's for sure. And every year, we average about 7 cases every year of human exposure to the plague, because it is endemic to the area. The optic in this particular year is that we have 12 cases, which is above average, and there have been 3 deaths already. Now, let's talk about how this happens. This is endemic to the area. In other words, it's found in rodents, specifically in those areas. I think we're seeing more cases exposure to humans because there's a major drought in California, so the rodents basically, run away from drought. They're looking for parks or better water, and this is when the humans come into contact. However, if you do come into contact or get a flea bite, which is typically the methodology in which you get the plague, if you recognize the symptoms, you can get treated with antibiotics, and of course there's a 90% survival. If you don't get treated with antibiotics and the doctors don't realize that you have the plague, then the mortality could be as high as 90%. So, I think the message is very important for consumers or for people. If you're sort of camping in areas that are endemic for this kind of disease, the plague, take protections by wearing repellents. Pants are very important so you don't get bites in your feet. Don't come into contact with any kind of dead animal or anything related to dead animals, because you can get exposed to the plague.
Okay, so let's say you are camping. How quickly will you start to see symptoms, and what type of symptoms should you look out for?
Well, the symptoms usually occur about 6 to 7 days after exposure. And they start like a flu-like type of symptom. You don't feel well. You develop high fevers, very high fevers. You may notice that your lymph glands are inflamed. You may get vomiting. And of course, if nothing is done, that becomes into a septic shock type of picture, and then you die. So you have to be careful, that if you develop these symptoms, especially after you've been outdoors for a while, or if you came into contact with any animals, or you notice that you have any tick bites or any flea bites in your legs, then go ahead and seek medical attention right away, because this could be potentially dangerous.
Okay, well, what does a treatment look like? You said antibiotics, but when you talk to someone perhaps who has contracted Lyme's disease, they even with treatment may have Lyme's disease their entire life. Is that something that we're looking at here, or is that totally different?
No, this bacteria is pretty easy to diagnose. This is a bacteria, and a lot of the typical antibiotics that are very effective. This is a Yersinia bacterium that is well recognized by doing cultures or by microbiologists. When they study your blood, they can isolate it and indeed treat it very effectively with a whole different kinds of broad antibiotics, the penicillin-like antibiotics that you're familiar with.
All right, Dr. Manny Alvarez joining us live. Thank you so much, Doctor. We appreciate it.
Thank you.